What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today, I'm super excited to bring you my full review of the Civivi Thug 2. The Civivi Thug 2 has a 2.69-inch Nitro V compound Tanto blade. That's a mouthful. This particular model has 3.79-inch micarta handles for an overall length of 6.48 inches, and the claimed weight is 3.7 ounces. Let's go ahead and grab the scale, check that weight real quick. Three 3.7 was what it was on the site. That might be an error on the site where I looked it up at, coming in at a very lightweight 3.3 ounces. So this is a nice option here, especially if you're looking for a summer carry. What we're doing today, size comparison. I'm going to bring out knives for our size reference, but if you could tell off the specs, it's pretty small. And then we'll do profile thickness so that you can see how it's going to carry in the shorts. And then we'll jump into thoughts and impressions on the actual knife itself, alternate recommendations, and then we'll wrap up the video. Let's go ahead and bring out the knives. First up, we're going to bring out the Spyderco Yojimbo 2, and we'll go ahead and bring out the Spyderco Shaman. So as you can see here, it is a smaller knife. It is what I would constitute a companion carry knife. It is very small. It's going to be very friendly if you're rocking basketball shorts and you just want something small on you just in case you need it. Next, we'll bring out the Benchmade Bug Out. And then we will also bring out the SIG K320. So again, really good size references. The Bug Out being a little bit of a smaller EDC. You can tell this is a chunky little guy, but he is definitely a short guy as well. All right, let's go ahead and get these out of the way, and we will bring out the budget knives. This is going to be the only sub 3-inch size comparison knife that I have, which is going to be the Kubi Royal. And it is closer than you may think. The blades are kind of walking away from each other, but they're very close in size. And then, of course, my favorite beater knife is going to be the Buck 110. So hopefully that has helped you from a length perspective, like when the knife is open and you have it in hand, you're trying to figure out how much space it takes. That's what this is for. My finger was resting on that front flipper. Let's go ahead and do thickness comparisons really quick. You can tell this is a chunky guy, especially because the Royal with the contoured scales is probably the thickest out of all my comparison knives, size comparison knives. You can see just how much thicker it is, and I'm going to jump into why that could be a good thing. Oops, that is not the Yojimbo 2. Here is the Yojimbo 2, which represents the Para 3. You can see just a little bit thinner. The Thug 2 does sit up over the Yojimbo 2 Para 3 comparison, thickness profile comparisons. Let's talk about this knife. Now, you get a very nice Nitro V blade, and you get a compound grind with a Tanto. And one of the things that I like about that, and one of the things that I was doing with this blade this past weekend, was actually my weed eater died, and I had to go pick up a new weed eater. So inside that box, there was a lot of stuff that I actually got to use to test this blade out. Not just the cutting performance, but that hollow grind, the tip on the Tanto, and the edges, depending on what I was opening. And, you know, some of the smaller boxes, since I had it out, I wanted to go ahead and just test how it was going to do with consistent cutting. And the Nitro V and the hollow grind, super slicey, came with a really fantastic edge from Civivi. The swedge on the top helped keep the knife moving through the material very nicely, minimal resistance, and surprisingly comfortable to hold during that process. So really did enjoy it. I think the thickness of the knife itself is what makes it feel so comfortable in hand. Now, granted, I'm not getting a full 4-finger grip, as you can see here. I am hanging off the back a little bit. Now, if I squeeze my hand in there, I can get 3.5-finger grip on there. This is a knife that I actually will probably grab a little lanyard, and it doesn't make sense for the lanyard to be way up here because I'm not going to hold it like that. But what the lanyard will do is it'll give my pinky a spot to land on to squeeze. So it'll be a shorter lanyard, but it does really help. Also, because I am carrying this mostly in the 5th pocket, it is nice to grab that lanyard to pull it out. I don't have to dig down into the 5th pocket. The Nitro V and the coating are really nice. As you saw in that little B-roll footage, I did plenty of cutting. You can see just a little bit there. I haven't cleaned it up since, and I feel like the finish on here has done a really good job, you know, masking the damage and really just preventing it from showing up too much. Let's see, can you still see it after wiping it down? I don't think I used this to open anything today. I think the last time was that footage there. So really easy to clean that finish off. It's a really nice coating. This thing, I just touched it by accident. Man, it just feels like it really wants to cut in there. I still have this piece of paper out from like the last video, so I don't even know if I'll be able to get in there. Okay, so nice thin sheet of paper, and you can tell, you know, it just, before it starts to roll, it has a really nice edge. So I'll try to hold the paper up, and you can see it just cuts through the material. I did strop it up a little bit after doing that cardboard, but Nitro V, just like 14C28N, is really easy to manage. Access to the lock, well, let's talk about lockup first. You're looking at, I'd say about 40% lockup on the back of the blade. I know it's probably really hard to tell, but what I'll do is I'll zoom in so you can see that. It has a decent pass-through with jimping, and because of the thickness, it's really easy to get to it, even if you want to come in from the side and let it guillotine fall shut, or if you're doing like I do with this one, I kind of just use the scalpel scalpeled section to reach in there and get my thumb in there and just release it. It does allow for the reverse flick, so it has a really good detent. It is not one that you're going to be easily able to fail, because you do have to build up the pressure and kick it out, and the ceramic bearings are really nice on here. Now, one thing that I did notice with mine, just a tiny little bit hint of blade play when I really am wrenching hard, like just a tiny bit. It's very subtle. So what I'm going to be doing, because I did do a force patina on this, I'm going to be doing later a disassembly video and maintenance. I'm going to clean everything up and make sure that everything inside is okay, that there's nothing in there that is preventing it from closing all the way, because Civivis usually do not come with blade play, so I was shocked to see that. And again, it is very subtle, and it is a very minor hint of play, and I have to really wrench hard on it. It could be that it's a small knife. It could be the way that it's sitting with the ceramic bearings on top of the blade. You see there is a lot of thickness there, and they look relatively small. So it could be that, again, they're smaller, and it's really probably not meant to be a hard used knife anyway. Having said that, it does have a very generous stop pin on there, and it does lock up nicely. Sounds good locking up. So really nice solid lockup. Weight reduction on the inside. You have little tiny holes on the liner lock side, and then on the show side, you have nice generous scalpeling sections here that are carved out to reduce the weight, which again, that 3.3 ounce weight is going to make this very friendly. You can probably even go ahead and carry this in your basketball shorts. One thing that I did notice, it is a reversible deep carry pocket clip, but did Civivi change their pocket clip again? This looks very different from what I'm used to seeing on Civivi, and I noticed when I'm holding it in hand, I don't think I feel it as much. So I don't know if it's a redesign or if it's just specific for the Thug 2, but I kind of like this. It is flat right here with recessed screws, so they're hidden and flush, so it's not going to catch. And the lip on there, and there's so much generous pass through that it goes into the pocket deep with no issues. And it is nice and flat out here and still tall enough to catch the pocket to go in and out. And it is pretty strong, but springy, so I think it's right there where it needs to be. Thumb studs are very comfortable to use. I like these thumb studs a lot. They do not irritate the hand, even if you're fidgeting with it a lot. And I think they did a really good job with this compound grind. Civivi does a nice job with the hollow grind, and you can see the plunge grind is way back here. So you do have plenty of sharpening space if you're going to be using your knife so much that you need to sharpen it repeatedly. Alternative recommendations. This knife is costing around $70, $75. With my discount code at White Mountain Knives, you can save 10% on this knife. Links are in the description. I don't get any kickback from White Mountain Knives, but I did want to mention that to save you a little bit of money. The links to Amazon, those affiliates right now are the only active ones that I have. So if you use those, even if you buy something else, it does help me get a little bit of a kickback so that I can put funds back into the channel towards the giveaways that I do. But that is optional, only if you want to do it. Having said that, full price around $72, $73. If you want a US option that's around this size, that's going to be a nice EDC size. The Skyline, which is the Blade HQ exclusive, 20 CV, thin blade, G10 handles, liner lock knife, super lightweight, nice friendly carry for the summer, and a good US recommendation. If you don't like that, another knife, which actually is going to be a little bit more fidgety because it is a button lock, is actually going to be in Civivi's own wheelhouse, just in case you don't like the style, but you like the size, you like a little bit of a chunkier handle in your hand. The Civivi Altus is a really nice recommendation. Outside of that, the only other two recommendations I would have for a knife that's kind of got a little bit of flair to it would probably be the Mini Beluga, which is a little bit more of a standout type knife that is very similar in size. You get a little bit more handle length. You're getting 14C28 NNG Mascus. These run about 50 bucks. And again, you can use the link down in the description if you want to take you over there and have a look at that. And then the last one is going to be the Andela. This one here is more of a tool, but it is going to be one that is very efficient. You can use it hard. You get nice bi-directional pattern. You get a very thin, slicey blade. The base model one comes VG10. This is the Knife Joy exclusive that I have picked up to replace my VG10 variant. 99 bucks, 20 CV, and I like the blue. So those are some of the alternate recommendations that I can make for you, just in case you're not interested in the Thug. But I think if you're watching this video, you probably are. And for me, while it is a little bit expensive for Civivi, and I really now have shifted, I think Syncut is now their brand's budget knife. And I think Civivi now fully represents, with all their models going forward, the premium budget line, meaning you're getting more premium steels and more premium materials, even though you can get older models for less money, but the steels on them are not quite as good and the materials not quite as good as the newer models. So I feel like We has now positioned Civivi to be their premium budget model, and then Syncut is their budget model. So that is going to be an adjustment I make on my channel, because I think if that remains popular, you're probably going to see other brands start to do that. Or they may just have tiers, right? You may have just their budget and their, like Kaiser. Everything's under Kaiser. Even their premium is under Kaiser. Their premium budget is under Kaiser. Their budget is under Kaiser. So some brands are not going to do all of that, whereas you have like Kershaw and ZT that are still kind of broken up. So that is going to be an adjustment for me. Back to the knife. This is highly recommendable. I think it has enough of a cool factor. I like it as a companion carry. I don't like it as a primary carry. I do like it as a secondary knife. I like this as a summer shorts knife, but not as a primary carry for me. I think it has a cool factor. I think it is very functional. It's gonna, cut your string, get you into your packages. And as you saw in the B-roll earlier, it is even gonna break down some of your smaller boxes really well. And again, it'll get you by. It's a nice conversation piece too. I think it has some styles and looks to it that I like. And it is comfortable in hand. If you have a smaller hand, you're still gonna be able to get a 3.5 finger grip. I do have a larger hand. Again, if I choke up to where I share the scalloped section with my fingers, I can get that fourth finger on there just fine. So if I have to get a good grip on it, and the fact that it's tall really does lend to those ergos. Hopefully this has helped you with your review. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like for me. It helps me with the channel. Consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Turn that notification bell on so you get future alerts. You're going to want to make sure that you get those alerts for the disassembly video, because I am going to break this one down. Thanks for tuning in. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.